Hello friends, welcome back for the fifth and final part of Inktober. This was the hardest part because even though there were only 4 portraits, it was incredibly challenging to finish this challenge, as I had completely lost all motivation. So let's get started, shall we? Day 28, the prompt was Lily. The meaning of this flower changes depending on its color. I chose white, which symbolizes this elf could be the king and queen's eldest daughter, and therefore the first in line for the throne. She's a kind-hearted girl who takes her role as a princess very seriously. I had a bit of trouble deciding on her hairstyle. At first I thought of doing 2 separate braids, then tried a sort of half-up style that I didn't like, and eventually went for a nice chunky single braid, lily flowers woven into her hair. I decided to give her a tiara, similar to Wisteria's, to signify her status. I have to admit though that I'm not too thrilled with the final result, although I'm not sure what I will change. Day 29. The prompt was snake, but since I'm afraid of snakes, I decided to change it. My first attempt was with rhinos, but I couldn't make it look right, so I eventually decided on axolotl. This time, ideas came quickly, partly due to a legend surrounding these fascinating animals. The axolotl is central to Aztec culture. According to legend, the god of fire and lightning, Xolotl, sacrificed himself by throwing himself into the flames to allow the sun and moon to move. So I thought this elf could be a representative of elven religion, an ancient druid specializing in elemental magic to whom all elven druids report. I decided to give him a unique mutation, a sort of gill on his face that resembled the typical axolotl frills. I also gave him a leafy headpiece to reflect the ancient origin of this animal. I really like how this elf turned out, and I'm glad I changed the prompt. Day 30, the prompt was Dahlia. This flower is native to Mexico and symbolizes elegance, creativity, and positivity. While looking for reference photos, I found some traditional Mexican earrings that were stunning and perfect for this theme. They're almost always heart-shaped with embroidery from what I gathered. So I decided this elf would be a noble who is very connected to her culture and always wear her traditional earrings. Although I didn't have many ideas for her backstory, and I feel a bit sorry about that, I'm happy with how she came out in the end. Day 31. The prompt was free, so I used it to add a tree to this list since it was mostly flowers and animals. I chose pine mainly because in Italian pino is a male name and repino, king pine, sounds a bit silly, which I liked as a little pun. Its symbolism is immortality and marital happiness, which is ironic given its history with ivy. Finding the right reference and ideas was very difficult as I couldn't find a picture that sparked the inspiration I needed to start drawing. In the end, I used AI to help. And after describing my idea and tweaking it a bit, I got a good reference image that led to this version of the portrait. I decided his crown should have natural elements along with gemstone and gold to match the other crowns. Since pines are common in Italy, I gave this elf Mediterranean features, making him and Lotus a mixed couple. I decided he'd have light hair and green eyes to visually connect him with his two daughters. He's a fair king who cares deeply for his people. Drawing every day was very helpful, and I noticed that at a certain point I was much faster at finished drawings compared to early days. The prompt list I used was enjoyable and had lots of interesting ideas. Creating a backstory for each character was so fun, and I realized I had created a whole universe through this prompt list. If I were good at writing stories, I'd already have all characters ready. The most important thing though is that I'll never do this again. As stimulating as it was also extremely stressful. I think I only managed to finish the challenge because my job has been a bit on and off lately, and on the days I was home, I had enough time to edit. But once we came back to working every day, I realized it wasn't a pace I could keep up. I often ended up drawing late and even sketching for the next day to give myself more time. Plus, I promised myself to post the entire process on YouTube weekly and on Instagram daily. But eventually, I gave up with the Instagram thing. What else can I say? I wanted to try this again this year, and I'm happy I have finally completed an Inktober challenge. I'm sure I wouldn't have made it if I hadn't started a few days earlier to allow myself some space for video editing. And I know for sure I won't attempt this challenge again for the sake of my sanity, but I hope you found these videos enjoyable, and I really hope to see you next week when I'll be drawing something super colorful because I could really use a bit of color at this point. Until next time, friends. Bye!